Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into the big takeaways from the 2026 Research Analytics Summit. We're going to look at the key themes that are really defining what it means to be a research analyst right now and what it's going to mean tomorrow.
The whole summit really boiled down to one central question. What does it actually mean to be a research analyst today? And it turns out the answer isn't so much about mastering a specific tool. It's about a pretty fundamental shift in our mindset, our skills, and really our purpose inside an organization. So let's start right there with the analyst. The first huge theme was this call for a whole new mindset, a deliberate move away from being just a passive provider of data and toward becoming a truly intentional, strategic partner. This slide just captures that evolution perfectly, doesn't it? That old model where you're just sitting back waiting for data requests, that's officially a thing of the past. The summit really challenged analysts to get proactive, to be purpose-driven. It's less about just checking tasks off a list and way more about contributing to the bigger strategic picture. It's about showing up with real intention. And here's where it gets kind of cool. This new mindset gets a fascinating boost from a concept called playful work design. Now, this is the idea that the creative, curious investigation that's at the core of our work is, well, it's a form of play. Think about it, like when you try out a new data viz technique just to see what pops. By leaning into that curiosity, we actually get more engaged, find more satisfaction, and you know what? We get better results. It's all about working smarter. Okay, so once you've made that internal mindset shift, how do you project that value out into the world? Well, that brings us to the second massive theme from the summit: communication. One of the sessions just nailed it with this quote: "You can't be an analyst without words." It's so true. Data on its own doesn't really say anything. An analyst's real value isn't just in crunching the numbers, it's in being able to translate those numbers into a factual, understandable, and frankly, compelling story for whatever audience you're talking to. And what that means is our output can't just be dashboards all the time. To be great communicators, we need a whole toolkit. We should be able to create sharp infographics, handy one-pagers for leadership, or even blurbs for the marketing team. The whole point is to meet your audience where they are in a format that actually works for them. This all leads us to one of the most real-world challenges that was talked about at the summit. How in the world do you make a big impact when you're working with, well, not a lot of resources? I mean, this is the reality for so many of us, right? You're expected to deliver these amazing strategic insights, but you're dealing with a small team, a shoestring budget, and maybe some systems that are, let's say, a little creaky. So how do you prove your value and build capacity when you're already stretched pretty thin? Well, the summit shared a couple of fantastic case studies on this. As you can see here, one analyst was a solo act, literally rebuilding an office's credibility from the ground up. Another was starting a brand new research analytic team, or RAT. And their secret? It wasn't some massive budget. Nope, they just focused on affordable, high-visibility projects that were directly tied to what their institutions cared about most. Ontario Tech University was another great example. Their journey, which you can see on this timeline, is just a masterclass in being practical. They started small with targeted quick wins, things like getting new software and actually talking to their stakeholders. That stuff had an immediate impact, and that built the momentum they needed to tackle their bigger goals down the line, like a real data strategy and bringing in AI. It's the perfect small but mighty playbook. So, we've looked at the individual analyst and the institution. Now let's pull the camera way back. The summit also spent a lot of time on the huge global forces that are shaping the entire research world. And this whole part of the conversation was grounded in some serious data from a major international survey in 2025. They talked to over 2,500 researchers and admin staff, which gave this incredible, data-driven look at the big picture. So what was the number one topic? No surprise here, artificial intelligence. But what the survey showed was this fascinating split. On the one hand, a third of research staff are already using AI as a tool for things like finding funding opportunities. But on the other hand, AI is also seen as the single biggest threat to research integrity. And that tension, that's something every single analyst is dealing with right now. And beyond just AI, the survey pointed to two other massive drivers of change: big shifts in government policies around the world and the constantly changing expectations from researchers themselves who need more and better support. These three things together are really reshaping our work. And just to make that more real, the survey showed how changes in U.S. research policy are sending ripples across the entire globe. International partners reported real, tangible effects, like losing funding and seeing fewer collaborations with the U.S. It's just a powerful reminder that our work doesn't happen in a bubble. We absolutely have to pay attention to these global shifts.
So, after all that, mindset, skills, resources, global trends, what does it all mean for you? What are the big things to take away from this?
Well, it really comes down to a four-part path forward. First, you've got to own your role by embracing that intentional, strategic mindset. Second, you have to become a master communicator. Third, get clever and adopt that small but mighty playbook to make a big impact. And finally, you got to keep your eyes on the horizon and understand those big global forces that give context to everything you do.
And all of that leaves us with one last, really important question to think about. As our tools get smarter and automation becomes the norm, the summit really forces us to ask, what is the uniquely human thing that we bring to our work? Answering that question might just be the most important challenge our field is facing. Thanks for joining this explainer.